Police in London are widening their investigation into controversial lockdown parties at the UK Prime Minister's residence. The criminal probe has been dubbed Operation Hillman, with officers now expected to contact more than 50 people who are believed to have attended the parties. An internal inquiry has found evidence of 16 parties, and the police are examining 12 of those, which appeared to meet the threshold for criminal investigation. The events in question have left Boris Johnson facing the gravest crisis of his premiership. The internal inquiry revealed that Downing Street staff had attended parties both at the Prime Minister's residence and office, with Boris Johnson joining a few of those events himself. The revelations around Johnson have raised questions about his judgment. Widespread anger has led some Conservative lawmakers to join opposition politicians in calling for the Prime Minister to quit. Our correspondent Benji Hire joins us live from London now. Benji, the Metropolitan Police has rowed back on a previous decision not to investigate a claimed virtual quiz held in Downing Street after images were leaked to a British newspaper. Give us more details on that.
These were pictured in the Daily Mirror in the past day or so, and what they show is Boris Johnson and his officials gathering for that virtual Christmas quiz in December 2020. Party hats on, tinsel also surrounding them. There is definitely sort of a party atmosphere, so the picture implies. Of course, at the time, restrictions set out by the government meant that people from different households were not able to mix indoors unless it was for essential work purposes. The fact that there's bottles of Prosecco open, packets of crisps strewn across the table, opposition parties say that that demonstrates this was not necessarily a work event. What's interesting here is that, as you mentioned, the cops decided not to investigate this at the time as a potential COVID breach. With the picture now out, they're deciding to review that, revisit it, and add it to their existing ongoing investigation. And from that, we could see potential implications for the Prime Minister or indeed his officials with him. There's one more thing to add, which could spice things up certainly, and that's that the former advisor to Prime Minister Boris Johnson, Dominic Cummings, who now finds himself out of 10 Downing Street, tweeted when this story dropped in the Daily Mirror, and his tweet reads that there are way better pics out in circulation, meaning there could yet be more revealed in the coming days.
So Benji, if Boris Johnson is found to have breached COVID rules and he's issued a fine, will he have to resign?
Laura, it's funny you asked that, because that was the exact question that was put to Boris Johnson in the past couple of hours. I have his full response here. He said that that process must be completed. He's looking forward to that process being completed, and that will be the time to say more on that. He's talking in reference to the police investigation that is ongoing. That's on top of the existing report that's been put out by Sue Gray, the senior civil servant, into those series of revelations of parties taking place in the Prime Minister's residence of Downing Street during coronavirus lockdowns. What's important to take away from that quote is that it's neither confirmation that he'll resign nor a flat-out denial. Essentially, we'll have to wait and see. And I mean, amid all of this, there's obviously a lot of uncertainty from Conservative MPs about what would happen if Prime Minister Boris Johnson was given a fine. It's certainly not as serious as a prison sentence, for example, but the Tories and the MPs that work and represent that party pride themselves on being the party of law and order. Can they really have a leader of the party of the country who has received a criminal penalty? That's not to mention the fact that if he is found guilty by the police of breaking those COVID regulations, he would have also meant that it would also mean that he has misled Parliament when he stood up and told his fellow MPs that there were no gatherings that took place during those dates at Christmas, that there was no breaking of the COVID rules. And the Labour Party, the opposition in the UK, they argue that that in itself would be a resigning matter.